What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 438 of Opinions May Vary. I am your host, JR. Joining me, per usual, is my co-host, Alex.
Hello.
I am pretty excited for this episode. Usually I don't get too jazzed about, spoiler alert, it's a Justice. It's the two of us. It's just me and Alex. No one is patiently waiting. We're not delaying any surprise. If you do want to hear us talk to other people, big recommend go listen to our most recent episode. It's almost 2 hours long. It featured some banging guests, and we talked about some spooky stuff, and it was a lot of fun. And then come back and listen to this one, because this one should be a lot of fun too, because it is still the spooky season. It is the tail end of the spooky season. Like, it's coming to the dramatic conclusion. So we're going to talk about some spooky stuff just between the two of us today. And we're going to hopefully have a little fun doing it. Maybe there's some music. We haven't even gotten that far yet. Maybe there's some spooky music playing over me as I talk right now. Usually we'll
see.
We're pretty good about it.
Let me take a note.
Yeah, well, we can always edit this out, or we can just ignore it. Or you can go back and because Brandon Boone last week was kind enough to let us use a couple of his spooky tracks for the intro and the outro of the episode. A lot of fun, honestly. Go listen to the last episode; it was great. Also, props to Alex for putting all that shit together, because it was a marathon. What day is it? It is we're like 3 days away from Halloween at this point. By the time this gets posted, it'll be like 1 day before Halloween. Mm-hmm. Like, Halloween will be tomorrow. Yeah. If you're listening to this day of. So let's talk about some spooky stuff. We got some like serious stuff to talk about, serious spooky, I guess, and then we also have some fun spooky, and then we'll see where that takes us from there. But I'm pretty excited. I'm actually going to talk about that later. But the first thing we want to hit on, we're gonna talk about fear. Specifically, because I can't believe we haven't even touched on this yet. When you had brought it up to me earlier, I figured it's something that we probably did the first year talking about of our spooky-sodes. It seems like such an obvious thing, but we never. I guess a credit to our guests for keeping it so interesting and fun that we never had to rely on talking about ourselves.
I definitely had a moment where I was trying to think of what we could talk about tonight, and I was like, oh, right. I know exactly how many people I've told the story of the scariest day of my life. But I wasn't sure if I should share that on the show, because it's everyone's like scary day is going to be different. And I think you were like, have we not talked about this yet? And I immediately recalled one of our flash questions, which I think was year 2.
Yep.
And one of the flash questions was, would you rather be in a slasher film or a psychological horror film? And I remember being able to decide pretty quickly, give me the slasher film, because for some reason I think that I'd want to try and take the slasher, like whoever the killer is. Like, I think I could have a chance, maybe. Like, it's a movie, so of course I would die. But part of me is too dumb to believe that, and I think maybe I'll get a shot if I get lucky. Maybe I could kill Jason. That's not going to happen. But that's a better fate than a psychological horror, I decided, where, like, if I was somehow tricked into murdering my entire family. I'm like, yep.
Like The Mist.
Exactly, yeah. I forgot the name of the movie. The whole crew of Girl in the Basement went to see, I can't think of the name of it. A movie from one of the donors. He directed I'm never going to think of it now. It's about a giant spooky mirror, and it freaks out everyone who looks into it. And they start seeing shit that's not there, and like there's time travel involved. Anyway, I didn't want to look at a mirror after watching that movie. But it's one of the things that, like, where it messes with all the characters' heads so they don't know what's happening.
Right.
And what they think is happening is wrong. And I was like, yep, I could never handle that. I'd rather have Jason tear my head off. So that's where I was at with that. And you had said, how do you remember that?
Yeah, I don't know how, because I can't recall who we talked with a month ago. And you're like, oh yeah, Flash questions in 2013. I know this right off the top of my head. I remember the exact question, my answer, and my logic.
I think it might have been Will.
If I were to answer that question right now, it'd probably be the exact opposite. I don't know what I said. I should have gone back and listened before we started, but
who knows what episode it was?
Right.
That might have been before we were doing spooky episodes, to be honest.
True. It may have been the beginning. Who knows? Maybe it was the beginning. But and your point makes sense. Like, I would much rather just end me quick. Mm-hmm. Just rip my head off, disembowel me, whatever.
Chop me up with a machete.
I don't. Yeah, simple. Don't make me question reality and slowly dive into insanity. Mm-hmm. I don't need that. I mean, I don't need either of those. But if I had to pick, I'm gonna go with the quick. Give me the quick stuff.
Which, this question is still in effect. So if any listeners want to comment on what they might prefer, I guess. It's one of those. Would you rather have the xenomorph blast your head open with its second mouth thing, where it eats you, or would you rather die in the vacuum of space?
I thought you were going to say, or would you rather get hit with a face hugger and
have a chest burster?
And have a chest burster, because that's, and I guess it's still kind of quick, but especially if you know what a face hugger does, and then you're just waiting for it. It's like when you have to puke and you don't like puking, and you just sit there waiting. You're standing over the toilet, convincing yourself it's gonna be fine. You've done this before, but you hate puking.
I kind of like puking.
Maybe that's just me. I don't understand how people. We're getting into puke talk.
I take a knee like football. You take a knee, hold my beard back. I hope my hair is already tied up. Hold my mustache out of the way. And you, most of the time, 90% of the time, once I'm done retching and coughing, I feel better.
Right, yeah, always. That's the crazy part. At least in my experience, because neither of us drink, so we've never had the pukes where it's you puke and then you still feel like ass. I've only been puking when I'm sick, and when you puke when you're sick, it's instant relief. It like you said, 90% of the time, it is the greatest feeling. But the anxiety that comes along with puking, no, I can't do it. It's just not. I don't get how people can just be like, oh man, I gotta puke, and they just make themselves do it.
To me, it's during an episode one time.
Fun fact, and I wasn't gonna bring it up because I wasn't sure. But hey, it's last 12 episodes. We might as well just go with it.
Let's go for it.
It was one of the greatest things I've ever seen, and I believe we had a guest on that week.
It was Brett.
Chat.
It was Brett. It was Brett, and we were doing a Steampunk World's Fair recap. And
I love that you remember that too. Alex at one point just gets up and leaves, and I think Brett was none the wiser. I don't think Brett was in the studio.
I couldn't tell if you guys heard me. But
no.
Then I come back and if the audience didn't know I was gone, and then I go, where are we? Did we talk about Holly yet? Let's talk about Folks Below.
Oh man, yeah, that's always been so foreign to me, is people who have that ability to do that, because it's anxiety. Anyways, so
xenomorphs. Either they could do the mouth thing and just blast my face open, and I don't know what they eat. I guess your face,
brains,
or a face hugger. I guess, is there any paternal feelings about the xenomorph that you've spawned tearing out of your chest? Because if it grows from you, do you feel oh, this is my child, then I want it to do well and prosper?
At what? Where's the? Because what is it? What's the thing that when the babies are born, they eat the mother? or the father or whatever, or like, you know, when Mantis bone it out, the guy gets his head eaten,
Right.
and that's like, yeah, come at me, get this head for the babies.
They need
Whereas
to
like a
thrive.
that's a different species.
Yeah,
Do you feel connection to it? And the species is hostile.
very.
So I don't know. I would much rather just, I mean, obviously we know I don't like face huggers. I'm not a big fan of giant spider vaginas shoving something down my throat
While choking you.
while choking me with acid blood. So just give me the splork like right in my face, just real quick.
Stab me with the tail. You know.
Yeah, you know. You can stab me with the tail and then like raise me up to eye level if you need to, and then splork me. You know, I feel like
Yeah.
it's only like a minute of agony, as opposed to having something latched to my face and then having my body explode.
Which that takes like 30 hours or something.
It takes a while.
Yeah.
It takes a while.
Huh.
But then I'm also intrigued. Like, would the alien that comes out of me be allergic to pollen? Would it be miserable in the month of May?
Would it prefer wearing baseball caps?
Is it going to start losing its hair midlife?
Is its favorite Green Lantern Kyle Rayner? Hopefully.
Is it born with those predispositions? That's the alien movie that I want to see. But I digest. So fears, things that scare us, and I guess they can be both. Because like I have some serious examples, things that legitimately scare the bejesus out of me.
So,
Go ahead.
who should go first? Because mine's kind of silly, and also questionable. Because there's a story involved, and it comes out to like me having an uncomfortable fear of like a fairly common thing.
What's the story?
Okay.
If you don't mind telling.
Okay, I'll just get started.
Just dive in.
So many years ago, this probably won't be a surprise, in like high school / early 20s, I was like semi-goth kid, but mostly I was a weirdo. I read too much Conan the Barbarian, and I really dug Ren fairs, and I wanted my own bracers, van braces, like those forearm leather guard things. And I was like, yeah, I'd be cool as hell with those things. I mean, at this point, I'm 22, maybe, or less. I don't recall. But I decided I want these things. I saw a really nice pair at some shop in Salem a long, long, long time ago. And then I was like, well, those are too expensive. So I'll find a place nearby, local. And I got out the phone book. That's how long ago this was.
Okay, all right.
I look for leatherworking, find a shop that does leather stuff. And I'm like, cool. I call him up and I was like, do you make custom stuff like armor? Like forearm bracers? And he goes, yeah, but I need measurements. And I was like, should I just come down there? And he goes, yeah, sure. So I get in my car and I drive through Connecticut, 91 to 84. And I get off out of town with a W. And I find this place.
Woodstock?
No, not that far. I don't want to give too many details.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you were intentionally leaving it or if I couldn't remember the W.
Like close friends, they've gotten more details, but for on air, I'm going to leave it a little bit vague.
Gotcha.
I go to this store, and it's like a horse riding store. It's legit. There's a lot of them around. They're in towns that have lots of stables and lots of people who ride horses, show horses, train them, whatever. So there's like saddles in there. There's boots. There's riding crops. There's just all the regular stuff you would bring to the stables for your horses. It's legit and it makes sense. The guy also does other leather stuff. So I walk in. I say, hey, I called. I'm interested in ordering some custom leather bracers. And he's like, yeah, sure. And so there's this dude. His name is Dutch. And he's like this older guy with a mustache with a big leather apron. And there's this other old lady there who looks like a witch. Like, she's short, and she has gray hair and a big nose, and like this red yarn around her neck. So he's like, how'd you hear about us? And I go, the phone book? And he goes, oh, okay. And the lady like measures my arms for me, and I was like, I'm thinking like, I've got these huge forearms, and I'm, I don't know, 20, maybe 22 years old, and they're still kind of scrawny. But we get that down. I was like, can I have them with skulls and like flaming skulls? And he's like, yeah, I can do that. The lady says, well, while you're here, do you want to see the back room? Hang on.
Yes, I do.
Do you want to see the back room? And I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'm gonna look around. I'm gonna look around though. I'll check this place out. Like, I'm not just gonna walk in and then ditch without like taking a look around the whole store. And that's when I see like it's legit horse stuff. There's saddles. There's, I don't know, the blankets you put over the horse. There's boots, the helmets that they have to wear that look like top hats, but they're actually, they'll protect you from cracking your head open. And I was like, I made this drive. It took me at least 40 minutes to get here. Let's get my driving time worth into this. So I go back to the front, and the lady's like looks up to me, and I go, yeah, sure, let me see this room. And she gets a big smile on her face, and she pulls out this red yarn around her neck with a key on the end, and like shuffles to the back of the store. And Dutch is still up front doing leather whatever stuff. And there's this white door in the back of this whole store. And she just like opens it, reaches in and flips on a light, and then steps aside. And I just walk straight into this room. And I didn't like check for exits. I didn't check how far away from the door I was, or like how many other cars were in the parking lot. And I just walked into a room that I wasn't familiar with.
Right. As a 22-year-old kid, what's the worst that could happen,
To be honest, I may have been younger. I really don't recall. I probably was, because I was still dating a girl from college, which I went to when I was 17. So anywhere between 17 and 22, I'll say. But I'm not here to kink shame anybody, but the room was filled with pony play stuff.
Right.
If we know what pony play is, it's people that like dressing up like horses, ponies, and other people will like drive them, or it's a whole thing. So there's pamphlets, there's literature on the wall, there's like hooves that people could wear on their feet. Like, right. They're more common now because Lady Gaga wears them or some shit. There's also hooves that people could wear on their hands. There's blinders and bits for humans to wear on their head. There's like a framed picture of a person wearing all the gear and harness, and only the gear and harness, while like pulling a sleigh through the snow. And a person like, I don't know, what's it called when you drive a wagon?
Like mushing?
Yeah. So there's a person also equally dressed up in leather doing that. So there's a whole thing of like posing in your pony gear, and this was a room that I just stepped into without checking my surroundings. And there's like chains hanging from the ceiling. And I slowly turn around, and I'm half expecting to like see Dutch there with a baseball bat, like about to knock me out. I'm just going to wake up chained inside this place.
Right.
But thankfully, it's still just the old witch lady, like with a big, big smile on her face, as if she's thinking like, we found another one. And I slowly turn back around. It's like take like one glance and say, okay, thank you, I'm done. And I walk out the door and quickly leave. In about 2 or 3 weeks, they called me to say the braces were ready. And I just walked in and paid and got them and left. And since that time, a thing that's become somewhat popular through I guess like the 2010s are those rubber horse head masks.
Yep.
And those things remind me of the few seconds I was in that room feeling trapped. And I cannot be around horse head masks. They freak me out, and I get uncomfortable, I don't want to leave. I don't want to look at them. And one of my favorite things, our good friend John, who's been on the show many times, also a lot of our spooky episodes, he knows me so well that he'll say, Alex, I don't think you're actually afraid of those things. This is a ploy to hide what you're actually afraid of. And I wish I thought of that. I wish that was the truth, but Brett's watched it happen. He's watched me like tense up and like get uncomfortable because we've been to a show, like a Beats Antique had an opener who was supposed to be Horsehead McGee, and like the gift shops, the merch stand had like horse heads there, and I couldn't go anywhere near it.
I was in the same boat as John. I thought it was a silly joke. It's Alex being Alex.
Have you heard this one before? I was trying to ask, like, no. Without like telling you the whole story. I could have sworn I've told it to like a few people.
I'm pretty sure I've never heard that story. I'm almost positive. So, and I get it, because it's like that's a traumatizing experience for a very young person, you know, trying to live their life, trying to get some bracers. I mean, I'm glad you got them. Do you still have them? Have I ever seen them?
Maybe.
I don't recall having.
I'll try and take a picture and post them on the Instagram page.
That'd be sweet. Everyone wanted, like growing up watching like Hercules.
Yeah.
Man, I wanted bracers.
Right.
I don't want anything to do with Kevin Sorbo now.
No.
But
your arms look so cool with them on.
Like he looks so strong. Braces, and like, you know, I got to wear, like, when I was a kid, I did a lot of archery for like, you know, Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts and stuff like that. And you got to wear the wrist guard and stuff. That was the closest I ever got to a bracer. But yeah, I'm all about that. That's sweet.
Yeah, but never blindly walk into a room you don't trust. Like
especially a back room that's locked.
And at the time, I'm thinking like, I could handle like a gimp suit or something. Like, I've seen some shit. I'll be okay. Like, I know what I'm getting into here. I did not, and I could not have prepared. There was no way. Nope.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Who knew?
It's enough where for years, hearing the word pony used like out of context was unnerving.
Right.
We worked at a theme park, and there's a lot of dancing, and like characters have to learn to dance, and one of the dance moves is like this like step and turn in place thing, and that's called a pony.
Yep.
And just hearing them do that during the rehearsal, say and pony,
and
pony, and I'm like, where?
Do not do that. It's probably the mind will turn stuff into fear. I legitimately didn't know that. Now I feel bad. You know, I feel like I've been a jerk. I've been insensitive. I distinctly remember we were at a wedding one time, and there was the typical photo booth, and this was at the peak of Horsehead.
Oh, that was like, in the photo booth, wasn't it?
We're gonna do the horse head, and it'll be funny. Alex said he doesn't like horses. Yeah, that was very. What an asshole.
Like, normal horses are fine. One time I shared a video of two people in a horse costume, where like the one has to bend over and hold out his waist.
Yeah.
But they were like dancing to it. Ever see like the Chinese performers doing the dogs dance?
I think so.
It was like that. And Brett like questioned if my account was hacked, and I was like, for some reason this doesn't bother me. It's people in a horse costume. It's different. It's I know there's humans there. I didn't know why it didn't affect, but it didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
But, yep. So I'm not sure if that fits the spooky month, but that's definitely a fear that I developed.
It's like it's phobia. I don't know if that's a phobia or like it's something that scares you. I can't remember if I've talked about this on the show. I think it's probably come up with the amount of times we talked about Pacific Rim. I'm not scared of Pacific Rim, for the record. Did we need a sequel? I don't think so. I don't think we needed that. At least that sequel. Did you ever see the second Pacific Rim?
I didn't.
You shouldn't. Don't ruin the luster of the first one by watching the second one, because it is not great. Not a great movie. I saw Pacific Rim back when it came out in theaters with some of my best friends. I saw it with Colin and our friend Zach. I can't remember who else was there. I think it was a group of us. But I remember we needed to sit close because someone had forgotten their glasses. And we needed to sit close to the screen. Even though we're at the movies, we had to sit pretty close. Mm-hmm. And when I say close, I mean the literal front row.
Oh.
Not the front row, like the front row with the railing. Mm-hmm. I'm talking the front.
Yeah.
Where no one ever wants to sit.
Because you're looking straight up.
Yeah, you're looking straight up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We were literally front of the front. The frontest you could get to the screen. as close as you could be. Mm-hmm. And I realized like halfway through the movie, at least at the time I didn't realize it, but like looking back on it now, mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure I was real close to having a panic attack. Because I was extremely uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Like, I loved the movie. The movie was great. It blew my mind. But there were certain points watching the movie where, like, lightheaded, I was uncomfortable. I was like, I didn't know exactly what was going on. Looking back, pretty sure I think I was close to having a panic attack. Come to find out, there is something called megalophobia. Which is essentially boiled down a fear of enormous things.
Okay, yeah.
So like that movie was, pardon my French, fucking me up. Because not only were we close, like you're looking up at the thing, you literally had to turn your head side to side to see the entire screen.
Right.
And they're giant robots and they're fighting giant aliens, and it was scaring the shit out of me. And then I come like later on, I distinctly remember, I think it was on, I say I distinctly remember, then I say I think. I think it was a gallery on the Chive back when, remember the Chive?
Yeah.
There was a gallery on the Chive and it was like, here's what all the planets would look like if they were as close to Earth as the moon.
Right. And Jupiter like, blocks out the rest of space.
Yeah, I can't look at that picture. I cannot look at that picture. It literally like I shake and like I instantly have to like it's not like a jump scare reaction to me, but it's close.
Yeah.
I cannot look at that picture. And like people have made like videos of like, here's what Jupiter or here's what Saturn would look like in orbit, and it's a video, and this is what it would look like if it like rose and set like the moon or the sun.
Around. Yeah.
Nope. Can't do that. Oh my god, I'm nauseous thinking about it, dude. I can't do it. Like,
can you watch a kaiju film on a regular TV?
Yeah, like I've watched Pacific Rim half a dozen times since then.
Yeah.
Like it's no problem at all.
But it's not like you're under them.
Right. Yep.
Was it the giant robots and the kaiju, or was it just having Charlie Day like that big in front of
you? It was probably a combination of Charlie Day's screaming. Spoiler alert, by the way, for the second one. You know why the movie sucks so bad? Because Charlie Day's the bad guy.
Aw.
Yeah. How are you gonna fuck that up? Oh, it turns out the kaijus have like poisoned his brain, so now he's like one of them. So he's been actively working to sabotage the global network to bring more kaiju in.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Was there at least Ron Perlman there to like soothe everything down?
I honestly don't remember. I don't remember. Like that movie was just not great, and it was the same like they have all these cool fucking robots and like they're fighting and then they all die except like one. Oh. You know, it's like come on, like man. One. Jesus. Except John Boyega's. You know, I like John Boyega. He's a good dude. Anyways,
I wonder if I saw a thing earlier today. I'm going to bring up a little later. but I wonder if there's something, if that phobia is like instilled in some DNA. Like, do we have a history somehow where giant things terrify us?
Right.
Like, what did we encounter that we're inherently afraid of?
When I think back, and this has been happening to me for a while, and I don't think I realized it. I also remember in 8th grade science class, we watched Contact with Jodie Foster, which takes place in space. Part of it does. Spoilers for Contact, by the way. There's one part where she's like rocketing through the wormhole and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's like a brief pause, and then she starts like shooting through the wormhole again and all that. And like at one point she's like in space. Yeah. And I felt like I was gonna pass out in the class. I was like, yo, this movie's scary. But yeah, it's like that feeling of insignificance and I guess helplessness in a way. It just, and there's a whole subreddit. There is an entire subreddit called r Megalophobia. And like when you search by like top posts all time, I can't even look at some of these. It's horrifying.
So I'm guessing there's people who are disturbed by stuff but still want to experience it.
Yeah. It's the I don't know what you want to call it, but like, I mean, this subreddit alone has 350,000 followers. And there's the one where people, it's like a fear of sequential holes.
That's okay. I was hoping we were gonna get there. That's tryptophobia.
Yes. Yep.
A friend of mine used to have a ring, and the ring had a bunch of holes in it, and she didn't like the holes, but she would wear the ring and like run her finger over or her thumb just to purposely feel uncomfortable. Yeah. So like if you ever see lotus pods, honeycomb, like all those have an effect.
That frog who has like its eggs on its back and then the babies hatch out of its back.
Man,
that's like the definition.
That's an experience.
It's unsettling.
So at local theme park where I'm a makeup artist and makeup captain, I run the makeup room. Occasionally we've been making our own prosthetics for a little while. And one of the ones that some of the girls wanted to make was like a honeycomb pattern because we happen to have a nest or a bug room. It's in the Nightmares Haunt, where like you're supposed to be experiencing different phobias. Like there's a dentist room and like a morgue, and so one of them's the nest. And so we'll put like honeycomb or like other holes on someone, and like either that's where the blood comes out or it's random wounds. Well, in 2019, one of the actors comes back to makeup, and she has her makeup on, and I stand at the front because everyone has to ask me questions or ask me to radio their supervisors in different divisions. Well, I see like one of the girls like crying, not like openly weeping, but like unsettled, and like tears are going down her face, ruining her makeup. And so I stop painting, and I was like, oh my god, what's wrong? You okay? Like, are you having a reaction? Are you allergic to the makeup? What's happening? And she just goes, there's holes on my face. I'm like, yeah, okay. Do you have the thing? Is that the thing? And she's like nodding. I'm like, okay. So our choices are to take the piece off. We'll take it all off and like we'll repaint it. Or if we fill in the holes, they won't be holes anymore. And she's like, okay. I'm like, you think that'll work? So she hadn't looked at her face until she got down to her venue.
Right.
And seen that like she's wearing a thing that makes her uncomfortable. And it was enough to like freak her out that like the sequential holes are now in her face, which was almost nightmare inducing. So she came back to like try and get it fixed. But I just like put blood in them, and I think I put pus in another one.
Oh, that makes it worse.
So I just like spackled them in with our thick blood. And I was like, okay, look now. Like, is it better? And she's like, I think that's better. I was like, okay, if it's not, like, just pull it off and we'll figure something out. Like, we're not here to torture you. And like one of the supervisors of the division can't look at some of her actors if we put that stuff on their face because she can't handle it either. A different supervisor has tryptophobia, but not like to a terrible extent. So I was saying this year while we were sculpting, trying to make some more, one of the artists had made like 2 different sizes of honeycomb. And I was like, nope, make those smaller. Because when they're smaller, there's more. And that'll be scarier. And the supervisor who I like said, oh, this was the instructions I gave. And she goes, yep, that's worse. Yeah, that's worse.
It's like that one I get to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Like the frog that we talked about.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of people will post, I see it on Instagram a lot, of like makeup artists, like, you know, oh hey, I did this on my hand, what do you think? And it'll be like very holy, if you want to put it that way.
The worst I've seen is people photoshopping lotus pods in places they shouldn't be.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yep.
There was one that messed me up, that it was like the skull of a child who.
Oh, the eye teeth?
Yeah, the teeth hadn't like, they were still up in the skull.
Mm-hmm.
Uncomfortable. And then the last one that I wanted to touch on that kind of goes hand in hand with the megalophobia. By the way, I sent you a picture of something that legitimately I was having trouble looking at this picture while you were telling that story. It's like the perfect definition of what messes me up. It's a woman in like a kayak, and she's kayaking next to an aircraft carrier. And it is, to me, one of the most horrifying things I could possibly, if you wanted to like torture me, just stick me right next to one of those. Because it's just normal. But there's another one called, and I'm gonna butcher it, but this one on subreddit has 881,000 subscribers on Reddit. Mm-hmm. It's called the Thalassophobia.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is the fear of being in large bodies of water, fear of vast emptiness of the sea waves, and fear of distance from land.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, looking at like the top posts all time in this subreddit, absolutely horrifying. Because I think it kind of goes hand in hand with the megalophobia, because water can be so enormous, especially things in the water. No, thank you. Nope. I can't, like, it's the Titanic used to fascinate me as a kid. Mm-hmm. I can't watch videos about the Titanic anymore, because not only is it enormous, but now it's also underwater. It's big and underwater and creepy. No, I don't want to watch that anymore. I'm good with that.
I'm asking Brett a question. I'm typing.
It's also one of those, like you had said, like, you know, do people go and actively search, like, a lot of the things, like, they'll post it with the caption, I hate this.
There's a guy on Instagram who makes GIFs of creepy stuff. And one of his recurring themes is Thalassophobia, where he'll have, like, a diver in the water and just, like, a gigantic anglerfish, like, come out of nowhere.
Nope.
Because you just can't see them coming. Really, anything coming out of nowhere in the water and it being huge, because we don't know what's down there.
Yep.
And you can't look down all around you. You can only look, like, directly down, and that might not even be enough. So, have you seen, like, the like a helicopter picture of a surfer or or a kayaker, not knowing there's, like, a school of orca whales, like, surrounding them?
Yep. The top post on the Thalassophobia Reddit was from a couple weeks ago. I don't know, you may have seen it. It went semi-viral, of a seal that, like, jumped up on a guy's boat.
Mm-hmm.
And, like,
Oh,
the
yeah.
guy's like scanning the camera around, and there's just orca like surrounding the boat, waiting
Yeah.
for the seal. Just terrifying because orca are, and we were so jaded as kids. Oh, it's Free Willy.
It's Shamu.
You go to SeaWorld. Yeah, it's Shamu. You see the orca. They're killer whales, but they don't actually kill. Turns out they do, dude. You ever watch Blackfish? You want to get real sad? Watch Blackfish. Yeah. Yep. No thanks.
I think it was in the opening. I don't think I remember it from being like mid-film. But when they go, we're calling 911 because the whale bit a trainer's arm. And they go, well, how's the trainer? It's like, well, he's missing an arm. So can we recover it? No. The whale ate it.
Yeah. Yep.
Go ahead.
It puts you in the weirdest position of like 1 second you're rooting for yeah, we got to get those, and then the whales are killing people, and you're like, no, and then you have to think like, well, why are they killing people? Oh, how would you react given their situation?
Yeah.
We're gonna lock you up in a room, like in a human scale. It's like you're locked up in like a 5x5 room for your entire life, and then do tricks every couple hours every day. You know.
When we bring in new whales, they're gonna bully you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, Blackfish, real depressing.
I saw a post earlier today about how it started off with how detailed in like high def some video games are getting, and to an extent, we're not going to care anymore. It's like they can only get so perfect, but they're never going to be able to actually mimic humans, and that's just going to make it worse, because the deeper you get into the uncanny valley, the more you don't like it, you know?
Right.
The best example is Polar Express. That's the classic that like spawned the uncanny valley term.
The dead eyes.
They're trying so hard to look like humans that it's just terrifying. And it's getting to the point where I've referred to like some Instagram like models as uncanny valley because there's just so much makeup on they don't look human anymore.
And filters are now
the filters.
Yep.
So that post led to, if everyone has such disdain for something trying to be human that clearly isn't, how far in our past is this ingrained in our DNA? Like,
right.
What have we experienced to give us this like hatred or unease, but we can't still keep track of it? Like we lost that recording. It was a story passed by only by word of mouth.
That's the stuff that like I never put much thought into. Like, but when you do think about it, it's like, you know, where did that come from?
There was a study done on chickens who understand when they see like a certain shadow come over them, that's a hawk coming to get them and eat them.
Right.
But there's been chickens who have been raised in captivity, never seeing the sky, who, when they produce a fake shadow resembling this hawk, the chickens still flip out the same way they would if they were outside.
Right.
So that is built into their DNA and built into like their subsequent generations, even if they've never experienced it themselves. Wild.
It's crazy. Like, what's gonna happen to me? I'm pretty sure. I think my grandfather was agoraphobic, which is just like I don't want to butcher it, but it's like a fear of going outside. He just had no interest. I'm just gonna hang. Let's see here. Having an extreme or rational fear of entering an open or crowded place, of leaving one's own home, or of being in places from which escape is difficult. So yeah, like I've been a claustrophobic since I was a kid. You ever see see Buried?
No. I've seen a couple.
With Ryan Reynolds?
No, I think I've seen the Kevin Bacon one.
I didn't know Kevin Bacon was in one.
Yeah, I think it's him. Unless it's Kiefer Sutherland. There was a point where I couldn't tell them apart.
Phone booth. No, thank you. Can't think of a worse way to go than to be buried alive. Maybe drowning, but
just punch your way out.
Just punch it.
In Kill Bill.
Just like in Kill Bill.
Just like Beatrice Kiddo did.
Just punch your way out of a coffin. So yeah, fear is a crazy thing. Tell us what you're afraid of. Give us your fears. Give us your fears in the comments. We won't do anything. We're not the Scarecrow.
No, yeah.
So
God,
we don't have.
I would
the
hope I was a
technology.
better villain than a Scarecrow is.
I mean, when he's done right, you know. I saw someone post. Maybe I'm in the minority here. Maybe I've just been sheltered. I saw someone post on Reddit the other day that the Scarecrow levels in Arkham Asylum were their favorite part of the game.
What?
And I'm like, what? What were you playing? It got to the point where every time a Scarecrow level hit, like when he started like getting woozy and stuff, I'd literally groan audibly.
Guess I'm not using my gadgets?
Right, like it's just like the game is so good, it just felt like I just didn't need that. I didn't need those levels. Let me keep exploring and being a detective and finding all these cool Easter eggs.
I like what they did with a lot of the characters from Injustice. Yeah. I was trying to think of another realms.
The fighting game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for pretty much all of them, I'm okay with that. For some of the Ultimates, it's like Catwoman and hitting you with a bicycle, her motorbike isn't the same as Superman punching you through the earth. Like, but having Scarecrow just be like a regular dude and hit with fear toxin, and now he's this massive scythe wielding monster. I'm like, I guess that's okay.
Yeah, you know.
But like, it's the fear attacking you, and not just the dude wearing a burlap mask.
Okay, so yeah, tell us your fears. What scares you? You know, it's spooky season. If it's clowns, you know, maybe you don't like clowns. Maybe
I'm hope we didn't disappoint anyone who was hoping we could make it easy, like spiders, the dark.
Right.
It's like, no, I'm gonna tell a pony story.
Yeah. Yep. Here's me going to the movie theater.
Okay, so
and
how do I dress up as the unending void for my costume for Sunday night? How do I be scary?
Oh man, oh god. Anyway, okay. Before I start thinking about that too much, we're gonna get to some lighthearted spookiness. Mm-hmm. Which is just fun. Like Alex hit me up the other day. He's like, "Hey, did you watch? Because there's a new Muppet movie, and who doesn't love a good Muppet movie?" And they did Muppets Haunted Mansion, and the Haunted Mansion is awesome. It made me one of my favorite like spooky talks was talking about the Haunted Mansion with John, mm-hmm. And like I guess like just the hauntedness of Disney and Universal and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Was it the Small World ride where you have to greet the ghost every morning or something like that?
It's a different ride.
Right, I can't remember what it was. Yeah. But you have to say good morning and good night, or
the ride won't
I'll have to ask John. Yeah, I'll have to ask John about it. But something that's fascinating, you know, the ghosts that hang around the Haunted Mansion and like the security footage that it's spooky stuff. But we got a new Muppets movie, and the Muppets are iconic. And they did the Muppets Haunted Mansion with Gonzo and Pepe the King Prawn. Who were challenged to spend a night in the Haunted Mansion with promises of riches and all that stuff. And it was fun. It was a fun movie. That's my review. You've watched it, yeah?
I haven't. I don't have the Disney.
Oh, you haven't watched it?
No.
I thought you asked me because you had watched it. I'm a piece of shit, dude.
I just want you to talk about it.
Yeah, it was okay. Oh, okay. All right. Now that I know what I did, you know, I wasn't sure if we were gonna do the feed off.
I briefly looked up the trailer and some of the wiki info.
Right.
And I was like, oh, we're focusing on Gonzo? Like, Gonzo's kind of one of my least favorite Muppets. And I was like, where's Kermit? Is Kermit in it?
He is in it. So one thing that I dug about this right off the bat was actually the opposite of that, in that my favorite Muppet movie, and also probably my favorite Christmas movie, is The Muppet Christmas Carol. It is has always been one of my favorites growing up. We always watched it every year, and now my wife is a huge Muppet fan. She loves the Muppets, so it just kind of enhanced it. Later in life, there's the Blu-ray, high definition Muppets. It's great. The Muppet Christmas Carol is told from the perspective. It's like Gonzo plays Charles Dickens, and he's like telling the story as it's happening. Like, you know, he's like within the story, but like everyone's just kind of ignoring him. And it's Gonzo and Rizzo the Rat experiencing the Christmas Carol as Gonzo tells it. So when I thought this one was also Gonzo, I was like, okay, cool. You know, like it'll be kind of like Muppet Christmas Carol. But they did do Pepe the King Prawn instead of Rizzo. And according to IMDb, which is never wrong, in the trivia, it even says, in past Muppet productions, Gonzo and Rizzo the Rat have been featured as a duo, which worked well for audiences. However, they changed it because Rizzo the Rat was retired, because Steve Whitmire, the longtime performer of Rizzo, also the longtime performer of Kermit, he's voiced Kermit since Henson died, was removed from the Muppets. When you go on Wikipedia, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not going to get into the specifics of that, but he's not with the Muppets anymore. So they retired Rizzo, and now is the new voice actor for Kermit, which is also one of the first things I noticed in this movie, because Kermit shows up a couple times. He's not like a main character, but I was like, man, Kermit's voice sounds off. Like it definitely was not this, you know, what you might be used to. But that's why, because the main guy who's voiced Kermit for ages is no longer with the company. And that's why they did Pepe the King Prawn, which I like Pepe. Pepe's funny. He's got like the Cajun thing going on, and he's also a prawn. But it's fun, man. It's got all the typical, like, I don't want to spoil anything about it, but it's got you know, Muppet movies are known for their cameos. And the actors that pop up in it, you know, the main one in this movie, and I don't think I'm spoiling anything here, that like there's always like the main human that they, like in the Muppet Christmas Carol, you know, the guy who plays Scrooge is Michael Caine. In this one, the main guy, he's like the host or the butler or whatever of the mansion is Will Arnett. Like, you know, Joe Bluth from Arrested Development and so on.
Lego Batman.
Lego Batman. He was also I can't remember the name of his character in 30 Rock. I just finished 30 Rock. But I like Will Arnett. He's a funny guy. And there are a slew of celebrity appearances. Some really did recognize, and I was like, oh, hey, it's that guy from that thing. And then also, who is this again? I didn't realize that was that person. But the typical, you know, celebrity guest appearances from the Muppets. It was kind of one of the main bummers of the movie, besides Kermit's different voice, was the length. It was short. It was very short. I think it was less than an hour and a half. I can't find the time.
I think it was less than that.
Right, like it was maybe like 70 minutes or something. I'm trying to find it on IMDb, but it was pretty short. Which was, you know, Muppets are fun, and I get it. Like they're probably making this in a very difficult time, as it is. So who knows what kind of restrictions were in place and difficulties they faced on set. But there are a lot of like throwbacks to the Haunted Mansion. You know, at one point they're in like the elevator, like the very famous elevator.
The expanding room.
The expanding room. Yep. But it's all Muppets themed. And it's fun. It was a silly movie. It was a nice feel good thing. I should give you my login so you can watch it.
52 minutes. For not even an hour.
Damn, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. It's almost, well, I guess if they haven't done a lot of Muppets recently, it's almost like they have to ease the puppet back into it. Be like, what if we're doing a long episode?
Right. I think there's a new show on Disney Plus, but I haven't watched it. There's so many streaming services now that we're trying to keep. I mean, I've watched 2 episodes of What If. Very behind on What If. What's the next one? Hawkeye comes out soon. That's going to be another show. That one looks fun. But yeah, I mean, it's It was a fun movie. At one point, I was admittedly nodding off. I was like, okay, and I guess that speaks to it a little more. The fact that it's not even an hour long, and I was finding time to. But it was funny. It was silly.
Was there a Hatbox Ghost?
Yes, there was a Hatbox
Ghost. Was it
Ghost.
the Haunted Mansion one, or was it a Muppet?
It was a Muppet as the Hatbox Ghost.
That sounds fun.
And I pointed out to Rizzo. I was like, "That's the Hatbox Ghost." And
for some reason,
like,
that guy's like the most secretly popular.
Yeah. I was like, he was in the Haunted Mansion, and my wife's like, "Can we watch the fucking movie, please?"
Just pause the movie, start looking up Wikipedia. No,
pretty much what I do. Yeah. I'm miserable. And my wife is incredibly patient with me whenever I need to spout factoids and all that nonsense that she doesn't care about. But I think it was Fozzie was the Hatbox Ghost. I can't quite remember. It was just a quick aside
from the trailer. I couldn't quite tell. Do we think they built sets, or was it filmed in the Haunted Mansion itself?
My guess is they built sets.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been in the Haunted Mansion once when I was in second grade.
I guess it's not really made to be an actual mansion because it's a ride with tracks and cars going through the entire thing.
Yeah. If I had to guess, they had to build sets. I think they would. I don't think they would have been able to film. I mean, I think it would have been rad if they could.
Once I realized there's a track with cards, seats going through the entire thing, I realized that was a dumb question.
But they did a good job of emulating the elevator, because they did have, because the elevator it expands or it lengthens and you see the pictures, and they were Muppet themed, so they did have some custom stuff going on in there. But overall, I thought it was a lot of fun. It was a good kick into the spooky season, because there's so much, there's always the movies that we watch. My wife and we carve pumpkins every year to Addams Family. That's been our tradition the last 4 years, I think. I can't quite remember. I finally did pull the trigger, and I bought the Blu-ray of Addams Family, so there's not the yearly panic attack of, oh God, what streaming service is it on this year? Because I feel like it's only on Netflix when it's not Halloween.
You know what I liked last year?
What?
Since he signed the exclusive contract, Adam Sandler has to make movies only for Netflix for a while.
Right.
It's 10 movies. So last year, Hubie's Halloween came out.
Right, yeah.
And it looks kind of ridiculous. Adam Sandler was able to make up yet another grown man kind of doofus dumb guy character. But it was fun and innocent, and overall, the people who enjoyed Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore are now grown adults who have children of their own, and they could start watching Adam Sandler with Hubie. You can watch Hubie with your kids. It's fine. It's not super gross and full of swears. It's fun and pretty clean. And you start meeting characters that are in his past movies. And the whole thing
I remember at one point I started trashing it, and you were like, "Did you watch it?" And I was like, "No." And you're like, "Maybe you should watch it."
Did you?
I haven't seen it, no.
Okay.
But it gave me pause. I was like, "Wait, but I thought we all hate Adam Sandler."
I like the character. It was his usual guy who wants to do right.
Yep.
And just gets picked on a lot. And how he overcomes that, and his family's there, and he tries to meet a girl, and there's some people who are friends and some people who are not friends, and there's silly stuff I think this person's a werewolf, and how they have to go deal with that. But and it's all based in Salem, which was fun. Which we were watching scenes, and there's a confrontation all the way out on Derby Wharf, which is where I proposed to Danielle. And Hubie realizes the person he's meeting there isn't the person who's been attacking people, and he like runs away behind the lighthouse, and I'm laughing, going, "There's nothing over there. It's just the end of this long like pier. It's this long dock. There's nothing past that." And then you see him drive away in a boat. But if you were like a little
unrealistic,
if you're familiar with the area, you're like, "There's nothing. Why is he going in that direction?" Oh, there's a boat there. Well, that's okay. But no, it's not bad. And I can't think of his name. Who's Goodfellas?
Ray Liotta.
He's the bad guy in it. Or he's not the bad guy. He's like the bully. He's one of Hubie's bullies who like picks on Adam Sandler character. Yeah. It was nice.
Do you have any other? Is there a lineup of spooky movies that you watch every year?
The Auntie Donna Halloween special. I'll watch that at least 3 times.
The second you posted it, I watched it, and then I was quoting it for the rest of the day to my wife. Oh, he's scaring the shit out of me. Every day for like a week and a half, it was, oh, you're scaring the shit out of me. And then the screaming where the On and Donny Christmas, the Haven't You Done Well, I said Christmas, Halloween was so good. Even the bits that fall flat, like the horseman. Yeah. I don't like that character, but they even bring light, like, I didn't know you'd be back, but Zach insisted.
Mr. Bull.
Yeah, that's what
Zach
it is.
insisted. He's like, no, I didn't. He like breaks character.
It's so good.
When he's the wolf, he's like, I'm not doing it. Do it.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, Brett just got back to me. So there's a guy on Instagram. He's at lights_are_off. Lights are off. And he makes GIFs. They're CG generated. He designs them. I don't know what to call it. They're all real scary. And he manages to put monsters like out. Sometimes it's like you're looking out a window and they're like stomping. It's almost like watching Titans stomp through the neighborhood. And then
I'm watching that one right now.
And he manages. And that's
he's moving, horrifying.
He moves the camera, and then when he moves it back, there's like a new monster directly in front of you. And this is maybe a quarter of what his videos are, of how he manages to distract you and come back and like, there's the thing. And he definitely understands and gets the creepy factor and how to distract. There's one where it's like panning through a bedroom and there's like one creature in the corner, and then you turn to the doorway and there's 2 creatures, and then you turn back to the own foot of your own bed and now there's 20 creatures.
Nope.
And there was none there before. But yeah, all his stuff is real creepy. Unfortunately, it often gets like lifted and reposted.
I'm watching it at an angle. I have my phone like turned away from me because this stuff is absolutely horrifying.
Mm-hmm. And so there's a few where he really exploits the Thalassophobia on there too.
Oh, that shower was awful. Oh, I gotta put this away. Nope. We're putting the phone down.
Yeah, if you want to get creeped out, lights are off is fun. If you're up for it, show it to your friends.
I got the heebie-jeebies now.
Yeah, I got the heebie-jeebies. I'm so spooked.
I'm so spooked. This is the worst Halloween ever. We like to watch. Obviously, we do Addams Family. Mm-hmm. A couple years ago, one of the big ones from my childhood, from when we didn't have cable growing up and we watched VHSs all the time, was Casper with Christina Ricci and the president from Independence Day. I can never remember his name. And watched that one a couple years ago. Still holds up. Casper owns. I will not hear any argument to the contrary. It's a great movie. We don't do much actual scary stuff. We usually do the lighthearted spooky. Hocus Pocus, we watched a couple weeks ago.
I've never seen it.
Never seen Hocus? Yeah, I mean,
at this
it's
point,
fine.
Like, it's a goal to not watch it.
Right. I was telling my wife, I hate the main character. Just not the character itself, but the kid who plays him. I just don't like his face. He has like not a punchable face, but like I just don't like him. I don't like him. And like there's a constant joke all the time about the fact that he's a virgin. Like because when a virgin lights the candle, the witches come back. And like the running gag throughout the entire movie is oh well he lit the candle because he's a virgin. And it's like the kid's like 15. Just telling kids to go fuck all the time. Like
made a real big deal about sex.
Okay, Disney, like yeah, have fun, like safe sex, but
funny thing.
But damn.
I was about to say you can't go wrong watching Monster Squad.
Oh yeah.
But also, yeah, the same kind of thing happens where they go, "Oh, we need a virgin to read from the book to summon the voids that banish the monsters too." And like they tried to get the teenage sister, and she's like, "Oh, with Bobby, he doesn't count." And like none of the teenage boys can read it. It's like, what? You're 14, dude. I guess my childhood was different from yours.
Yeah. The things that we had no idea about. And like I wonder how many kids after watching Hocus Pocus had to ask, what's a virgin?
Ask your babysitter that. That was weird.
Yep. So, I mean, Hocus Pocus is fine. You know, it's I think at this point it's nostalgia. It's the nostalgia. Bette Midler and Sarah Jessica Parker. But what else do we watch? Because we don't do the slasher stuff. I almost watched It a couple weeks ago, but I was like, you know what? I don't feel like getting scared. I just like the wholesome, spooky shit.
Danielle watched Halloween Kills. I was at work making monsters.
Did she like it?
No.
I heard the last Halloween was so good that any subsequent Halloweens are just not necessary.
I don't even know what the timelines are anymore. Because I feel like there's 4 different realities of Halloween right now. Because you've got the original couple, but like Jamie Lee Curtis is an H2O, and that's supposed to connect to the early ones. But then the last 2 are supposed to connect to the first 2. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never seen a Halloween movie.
In this one, and that's not even counting the Zombieverse ones. Rob Zombie's Halloween's
oh yeah, I forgot he made those.
Right. But in the new one, spoilers. There's points where the townsfolk like want to go stop Mike Myers once and for all, and they start beating him up. And the decision is that maybe he gets stronger with every kill. Like he's supernatural for some reason.
Right.
Because he's supposed to be just a dude with a knife who's sneaky. But now like there's people just hitting him with hockey sticks and baseball bats, and he just kills them all.
So it's like Jason now, essentially.
Kinda. Like he stands in a fire and then kills all the firefighters that come to put out the fire.
That's dumb.
And he's also supposed to be about 60 years old as well.
in a Shatner mask.
Yeah.
Fun fact that everyone already knows, but maybe some people don't. The original Michael Myers mask was a William Shatner mask. So you can use that at your Halloween trivia. Yeah, budgets are fun. So, yeah, I mean, I asked what movie because you don't have a whole lot of time to watch movies.
No. We started Lock and Key, season 2.
Oh, yeah, how's that so far? I got to start that.
Good. There's some parts where I feel like they're either ignoring or forgetting parts from the first season, which I kind of want to question, unless I'm not remembering things properly. It's like the key can do this, but only not for this reason. And I thought
that seems convenient.
That was the whole point of, but we covered that the first time. Maybe I'm confused, which I wouldn't be surprised.
A friend of ours watched the entire thing in a day.
Wow.
Which
did they start spoiling the shit out of it?
No, they didn't. Different friend.
Not that friend. We know
different
exactly
friend.
who we're talking about.
Yep. Now we're just talking in code. Nobody knows what we're even discussing. We should probably end. We can talk about this stuff off air.
So I hope this was acceptable. It's not like our usual movies or making monsters or makeup or effects. But this, you know what? It won't exactly be our last spooky-sode. Because in searching for a guest for this one, we found someone who was actually pretty cool, but we didn't have time to get to him this month, so we'll get to them a little later.
Yeah.
And that'll be our makeup spooky episode. But...
Oh, darn. We have to talk about more spooky shit.
Oh, no.
Damn. Yeah, so there'll be more coming. This one I was personally really looking forward to this once the topics were like set in stone. So hopefully other people listening at home around the world also agree that it was fun. You know, I think it was also a little therapeutic to kind of talk and openly about like what scares the shit out of me. Just because to tell people like, oh, I'm afraid of really big things. You know, I imagine you've experienced the same thing with I don't like horses. You know, like what, why? That's you know, it's because it just does, man.
I feel like it's okay giving our listeners a bit of our personal selves.
Yeah.
Since there's only 12 episodes left.
Pretty bonkers.
Yeah.
To think about that.
Yeah.
We had that realization right before we started, because I did the mental math. But we have some fun. We have some fun coming.
Mm-hmm.
Some appearances and some familiar faces. It should be fun. Should be a good time. But until then, we're gonna enjoy the next couple months of making stuff. But Alex, thanks for.
If I forgot to say it, props to Brett for reminding me who Lights Are Off was.
Always props to Brett.
I messaged him and I said, "Who's the guy that makes the creepy gifs on Insta?" he had it right away. Lights Are Off. So thanks to Brett for hopefully disturbing everyone else with looking up that page.
Oh yeah, yep. That I'm gonna have to go and send him a quick. Thanks for that.
Jared's blocking Lights Are Off, so he never sees
it. Yeah, I mean, I plan on going back to it, but like
in daylight.
Midday tomorrow.
Noon.
Not in my already dark office, but yeah, man. Thanks for telling some personal stories. Finally got the background of how much of an asshole I've been. This was fun. Let's do it again sometime.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, we have to talk about Lock and Key and stuff off air, so that's going to do it for this week. Until next time, I've been JR.
I'm Alex.
And this has been episode 438 of Opinions May Vary. Hey everyone, if you liked that episode, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Opinions May Vary, and on Twitter and YouTube at OMV Podcast. You can also find us on Spotify or on our very own website at omvpodcast.com. And if you're looking for merch, we have stickers and pins available over at omvpodcast.bigcartel.com while supplies last. As always, thank you so much for listening. Let us know what you thought in the comments, and we will see you next time.